retrain your brain to see it in terms of this is the education piece to get to the next level, because we naturally invite going to college for 4 years and understand that's necessary to get to the end result of becoming an engineer, becoming specialized in whatever area you went to school for. And then you also invite 8 to 12 years if you want to become a doctor or specialist. You invite that easily and just say that's necessary. But what's necessary to get to financial freedom? What are you willing to go through for that? Are you not willing to go through 4 years for that?
You're listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. It's about time that we invest more in our financial literacy and work towards building generational wealth. If you think you're ready to do the same, then you've come to the right place. Alex, Marlon, y'all ready? Let's get this bread.
What's good, everybody? It's Alex Kamunya here. We are back with episode 142 of the Money Monopolizers podcast. And I'm here with my co-host, Mara Walls. Mara, how are you doing today?
I am doing good, bro. To be honest, I'm in a space where I am just like fully determined to take everything that we're doing to the next level. I would say I'm like I think I mentioned last week, we went on that mini vacation, and like I said, I've just been really motivated ever since then. So this past couple of weeks, I've really like locked in on pretty much all cylinders. I'm actually probably back. If anybody's been watching social media, I'm actually more active on there. Yeah. On top of that, I'm also like locked in. We got business cards made now for our business, and we're leaving those inside of every single one of our rental cars. Like a lot of stuff is going on now. So I'm, like I said, just fully engaged in everything. I want to start growing again. So yeah, I would say that time off has really done a lot for us. How about yourself?
Yeah, man, I'm doing well. I think because now this episode is releasing in August, so it's crazy to think how fast the year is moving. In 20, because you got to think, we was just in, I swear to God, I just did my taxes. It was like, that was in like February.
Yep.
And like now it's like, yo, it's almost time to do taxes again.
How's the Profit First working for you, Joe?
Hey, man, it's been good. You know, that's the blueprint we use to keep things going, in the business, and got a good tax pot set aside. So I ain't even worried about it, but it's gonna be, I don't know. It's just crazy to see the year, how fast it's moving, because time really is not waiting. And it's like,
nah, fam.
you gotta think, because I mean, we started like this financial freedom thing in 2018. It's probably 2023. I mean, I know we got 6 months left, but from when but like, yo, it's about to be 2023. That's 5 years, and it's a lot. If you like, I want people to really think about like their last 5 years and what did you really do over the last 5 years? Like, what did you like put time and effort to getting financial freedom over the last 5 years?
You're right. If that was your goal,
like, and whenever you came across this, and we didn't start the podcast till 2019, but 5 years, like how much have things changed since then? And I think, it's just crazy to really think about that and reflect on that, and reflect on like how what's happened in those 5 years, and like what now, and how the next 5 years will look. Because it's like we was 21 at that time. And it's like, yo, that's literally the early 20s. Like when you talk about early 20s, beginning of your 20s, 21 is like what you think of. And it's like now we're halfway through, and I just know these next 5 years is gonna fly by. And I honestly, it's like I just don't want to squander them at all.
Facts.
Like I hate even like today, like when I like be catching myself wasting time, I'd be like, dang, I'm gonna just wasting these 5 years. Because you gotta really think like how fast time is moving. Each of these days is like, yo, that's a part of these next 5 years. And to really be, not using it to your full capability and the way you should, it's kind of like, yo, I try to always catch myself to like know, like, yo, even in those times where I don't feel like necessarily working on something or doing something, can't do that. You can't do that. You haven't earned that.
It comes a lot from like having a deadline for yourself mentally. Yeah. I know that you like 30 is a monumental number for you, as far as like,
it's not for you.
It is. But I'm just saying, like, but just in general, I know for you specifically, that number in particular, 30, like that's the milestone number that says, how does life, this is where I'm gonna measure my success level based on what does it look like at 30 for myself.
Because at that point, it's been almost 10 years of focusing on a goal. Mm-hmm. So I think it's totally fine or fair to measure your progress and to judge yourself on your progress 10 years later.
I actually think also it's good to measure your progress on the way. So like 100%. for us right now, we are 5 years into the beginning of our journey. And
so let me ask you, if you 5 years ago, if I said, yo, you'll be here where you are now, would you say you had overachieved or underachieved?
Dang. So I was actually thinking something similar as far as just like based on where the conversation was going, because 5 years ago, if I had to meet me for the first time, like, would I be proud of like where I've accomplished, or would I be like, you could have done better? It's like very similar. It's like under or overachieved. To be honest, I said, dang. Actually, I think about what was your goals 5 years ago. I think that's a good place to start at. So for me, I was saying financial freedom by age 32.
Yeah.
So today I'm only 26, and I had no earthly idea how I was going to get there. I mean, I had a general overview idea, but the actual work that I was going to take to get there, all he has is a concept of, okay, this many units, this much cash flow per unit, like back in real estate terms, versus actually going out and executing it and so knowing what it takes to get there. The knowledge base of what I know today, I think I would say that I have. Dang. So according to how I am, I've underachieved.
Underachieved.
I would say that, just to answer your question, just because of how I am, I always feel like I could have done more. And I don't never say I'll overachieve. I would say that I'm either right on line or underachieved.
So there's never a point where you say you have overachieved ever. So
for me, from my standard, to other people, they would say, yeah, you've been a big overachiever all your life. Right. For myself and what I said for myself, I would say no. So even though my goal is financial freedom at 32,
I mean, if you was making $100,000 a month cash flow at this age right now, you would say that. I'm just trying to. There's somewhere where it's like.
I would say yes, because I know, because of what I know now, I know my path could have been faster.
Yeah,
and with different strategies. So because of that, I know that I haven't necessarily overachieved. I know what overachieve would look like. Right. I'll say something like that, Dan.
But that's what makes it so interesting, because it's like you didn't know what you know now back then. So it's like you're judging yourself now based off of what you would, if had I known what I know now back then, where would I be now? So if you say you underachieve, that's super convoluted. But if you say I underachieved based on that, that's kind of unfair to that.
Okay, I see what you mean.
To yourself, because you didn't, like, if you knew now what you knew back then, and then you still didn't, you're not at that, let's say $100K a month, right? Then yeah, you're trash. You should have, you should have
based on what I knew back then, is my today's self an overachiever or underachiever? Yeah. Basically, is like the question. And so we have barely just got into like real estate. It's just starting out with like learning about how to do the house hack and everything. I would still say that I have underachieved, because I just always know that I could have learned more. I don't know. I'm very critical. If there's anybody who's critical of me, I always say myself. I remember my dad used to always say, when no coach could no football coach like that could put more pressure on me than what I had already seen in the household. Because right. Myself, as far as how I'm critical of, like, I'm always very self-analyzing and making sure that I'm being the best version of myself. And plus him being like just disciplining me early on, like he was like, no coach can out discipline like what we've done in the house. It wasn't even in a bad way, but it's like you're not even gonna be fazed by anybody else's expectations, because I always set them for myself.
So you would say you have underachieved,
for sure. Bottom line, I would say underachieve. I can always have done more. What about yourself? I'm very curious now.
I mean, I think it's an interesting conversation, because you can look at it two ways, and I'll give you an answer at the end.
Yep.
But you can really look at this in multiple angles, because like I said, there's like, at that time you knew, I was 21 years old, whatever, 5 years ago, kind of what you want. Now I remember saying, hey, I needed $10,000 a month by age 28 in terms of like cash flow. Like I was able to do that last year. Right. In terms of like, what I pay myself out of business. So from that aspect, I've overachieved. right? In that aspect, if we're looking at it strictly from metrics, KPIs, measuring it. Now, in the sense of like lifestyle, all that stuff, underachieved. Because I'm completely not where like, I mean, if I would have told myself, okay, you'll be making $10,000 a month, I would have expected a certain different lifestyle for myself. So if I had to like give it a concrete answer, I would say underachieve. Just because like, $10,000 a month, it's kind of like, I got here and it's like you making 10K a month, but you realize that really ain't really no type of real bread. Like that's not crazy money. It was enough to like, leave your job, whatever, and be able to replace your income, all that. It was enough for that. But to be able to like live that lifestyle, then like, no, that is not any room. Now, if I was making $50,000 a month, but again, I had moved the goalpost already to where now my $50,000 a month is for 28. I had been moved that goalpost last year. So that is like, and I hope I don't keep doing that, but who knows? But that is like now where I look at it as like, that's where I would say I've achieved. Cause honestly, I'm like I said last episode, I don't have any aspiration to be a billionaire. I know it might sound like I do, but I don't really necessarily care about being a billionaire because I don't care about what it takes to get there. But like, yeah, straight up, I would say underachieved just from that aspect though. But it's kind of tricky because like, if I knew what I knew now, and like I said back then, and I didn't execute, then yeah, I'm garbage for that, and I definitely underachieve.
And so it's always based on, I think, just like I said, to be fair to the conversation, you have to always ask yourself, based on what you knew back then, have you underachieved or overachieved?
I would say over. I would say over, just based off of that.
Just based off of that alone. Because then you have to figure out, I guess, if you want to look at it in terms of like a 5-year metric. So going forward now, based on what you know today, what would you say would be something realistic for you to measure like under or overachieve in 5 years from now?
Straight up, I mean, if I'm not making, and we're just talking financially, we're not talking about like like
there's a lot more to life besides financials, but yeah,
this is a strictly superficial conversation about finances. But if I'm not making in 5 years $100,000 a month cash flow, I underachieved. Straight up, knowing what I know today, right now, and knowing, like I said last episode, focusing on one thing, becoming an expert for the next 5 years at one thing, there's no reason I shouldn't be making that. That's pennies. In fact, it really should be more like $250 a month if we're being honest. Like I'm keeping it 100.
I don't think that I just don't think there's a limit, to be honest, because there's no limit to, based on just what we know now, and just taking the time to actually grow and allowing it to compound on itself. It's like the 100,000. I think the 6-figure mark, just in general, and even pushing past that is very feasible. Just 100%. Within 5 years, like how you look at age 31 versus age 26 versus age 21 is just drastically different. Like this, I always think about in terms of a journey. Like there's a long, matter of fact, I'm gonna tell based on this story. So for the past couple months, I've been working with my business coach. She actually gave me 10 of her employees, and she wanted us to build out an entire project like within 6 weeks. And when we first started, this was my first time ever having a team of that size. It was all virtual, and it was their first time working on the software that we were working with. The problem is that everybody was brand new to it. So the first 3 to 4 weeks of that 6-week time frame was all learning. And we were all having to learn each other. We were having to learn how to communicate with each other, having to learn how to actually execute. That 4th or 5th week, somebody finally said, yo, you need to learn how to be a better communicator with us. Like we're not figuring these things out because we need you to step up as a leader a little bit more. And like really start like spending more time with us, explaining to us what you want from us. All of this, the first 3 weeks though, was us figuring out that was the issue. And so when we hit the 4th week, the 5th week, all of a sudden deliverables started coming out quick. Like we finally started firing on all cylinders. We got more done in the last 2 weeks than we did in the first 5 because of that. I'll tell you that story because that's what's going to happen for us too. The first 5 years of this journey has been education. Find what's going on here. Find out how to run a business. Find out how to be what financial freedom looks like. Figure out real estate. Figure out stock. Figure out all this different stuff. And at some point, it's enough education time. Now it's like, okay, I figured out what I need in order to be successful. I see the actual linear correlation to me doing this to getting this result. Now it's execution time.
Yeah.
Once I have found the right thing and I actually know how to execute on it, and now I just need to execute. It's no more, I need to go figure out the strategy. The strategy is what takes the longest part. I was telling each and every one of our employees that I said, y'all are all gifted at something. One is gifted at copywriting. One is gifted at actually creating creating graphics. One is gifted at creating spreadsheets. The person that was creating spreadsheets, I told her, what takes the longest amount of time to create a spreadsheet? She says, I make the spreadsheet in 5 minutes. The longest part is actually figuring out how to do it. Once I figure out how to do it, it's literally the time frame of going from conception to reality is no time at all.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm saying for our journey, it's like you talking about a 10-year time frame. This first 5 years was all just the education piece. So the results are going to be dramatically different versus what you've seen in the beginning. So people will say, bro, you're only making this much right now. You made $10,000 a month this year. How you gonna make $100,000 in 5 more years? It's not linear.
Yeah, it's exponential.
It's exponential because all it takes is that right information and execution on it to be able to have that exponential growth.
Right. And that's like, I hope people really understand this concept of exponential growth, because that's typically how most great things in life are. Where there's very few things where it's a linear correlation to effort and reward, except, I would say the closest thing to that is being an employee. Like as an employee, generally, your effort and your reward is always correlated.
In fact,
because your reward is always going to be pretty much capped. In fact, it's probably inversely correlated.
I was about to say,
really think about it,
because you can put in more effort and really use the same result as an employee.
Right. And so, but generally, like I said, anything great in life, it's like, yo, if you want to become a great athlete, you want to have a great physique, a great body. Initially, it's going to take you a few months, maybe even a few years of it's going to be a lot of effort and very little reward for those first few months. But then at some point, it starts compounding on top of each other, right? All your habits, the great habits, going to the gym consistently, eating good consistently, all these things start compounding on top of each other. Your body's like, yo, I like this. And then you start seeing the changes, right? Same thing with making money or in entrepreneurship or financial freedom. Like you said, these last 5 years since we started in 21, it's just been strictly educating, learning, failing, trying, getting back up, doing again, trying different things. But now you figure out what you really want to do. And now taking all your experiences and the lessons compounded on one another, that is going to get you to exponential growth a lot sooner than, you will really expect it to, right? So like you said, $10,000 a month right now could be, nothing, but $100,000 a month. That's not even a lot compared to like, where it's an infinite ceiling. So it's like, if you're really looking at it like, and I don't want to say infinite in the sense of like, it can go infinitively because there's a diminishing return at some point. Yeah. But generally, as far as like what you expected, it's completely, it's a lot higher. So I think if people really approach things with that understanding of like exponential growth, where if I sacrifice for a few years, if I just focus on something for, a few years after that, you're going to start to see stuff compound and, you're going to get those results. So in 5 years, like, yo, I expect these next 5 years to really, and you're going to start seeing it in like, you're in the next 5 years, year 3, year 4, year 5, then you're on some huge, place. You're like, yo, this is crazy.
Facts.
But it's like becoming an expert, like you said last time, is going to be the key at focusing on that one thing and mastering that and taking those, few years to actually get to that point.
Right. And I really thought back to my business now. It's going back to the rental car business. So I think we had seen like a couple $10,000 months, like especially like end of like summer, fall last year. And then it's slower back in the very beginning of this year, like $7,000 months. But then we hit a certain point where we said we got a new piece of information that helped us catapult to the next level. And so when we're talking about exponential growth, the reason that it's exponential is because you build up enough information to be able to operate at a certain level. So once you have enough, you like reach a certain point. And once you get a new piece of information, you can use that and add that to your foundation of information that you have. And now you can take you to the whole next level for you because you implement one new thing. So I say that because our business went from making 10,000 to 25,000 just within 1 month time frame. So now, because we implemented that new piece of information, for us, that was actually learning how to scale our fleet through like partnerships. Now, what we're seeing is we can maintain that same amount, or we can scale it up if we continue to get more partners. Like that's an infinite way. Thing is, now I learned a new piece of information that allows us to scale even beyond that. So I was able to scale one way by getting one new piece of information. My next new piece is figuring out how to gain lending from different actual lenders without having to use partners. So that's going to help us scale again. So it's not going to be 10,000 this month, 12,000, 18,000, 22,000. It's not going to be growth like that for us. It can be, but I know that just getting that right information is going to help us have the exponential growth that I'm seeking.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot quicker. So it may look like nothing is happening, but in the background, it's all acting on the new information that I've gained in order to apply it. Once it's been applied, it's going to jump again. And so if that continues to happen over the next 5 years, whether it's in the rental car business or whether it's in anything, which is, like I say, everything is exponential in business or just within this realm of making money that we're doing, investing business, then you're going to see those large scale results after 5 years of doing it consistently, becoming that expert though over that time.
Right. And that's the key to all this. And I want people to, because I know we were talking about like our specific journey with like, the last 5 years and the next 5 years, because we're kind of like halfway in between this 10-year kind of period, which it's not just a 10-year thing. We're just talking about this 10-year period. But I think a lot of people might be hearing this is like, yeah, man, I'm just not starting them. It's my last 5 years. I've been doing nonsense, whatever, doing the wrong thing. Nothing was ever the wrong thing. You find information when you find information. If you know it now you have a choice. And I look at it as like, it's like, yo, you can look at the last 5 years as regret, or you can look at the next 5 years as opportunity. So it's kind of like, I look at it as if, there's nothing you could do about those last few years. Mm-hmm. At this point, it is what it is. Like that's literally etched in history now. It can't change. But this next 5 years could be those foundational years. Yep. that will build the following 5 years. So that in 10 years, you too will have gotten that exponential, have reaped the fruits of the exponential growth. And so I think, no matter where you are in this journey, you could always, I mean, that's a great thing about just life in general though, because I mean, obviously we don't know how long we have on earth, but one thing we do know is that, you have time, you have opportunity. And regardless of, where you are, what age you are, there's opportunity in front of you. It's literally just about making that choice right now or today to really just say that these next few years is opportunity. And you got to really just be locked into to what that looks like, and so that you can take advantage of that. So it's something that, I think a lot of people could really, I don't know, because obviously if you're listening to this, financial freedom is something that you want. Financial freedom is I would hope a goal of yours. So, and it can be yours in the next, 5 to 10 years if you really, really, really want it. And I know that sounds like a long time, but the 5 to 10 years is going to pass anyway. Like the time is going to pass. And it's kind of like, I think about it like this, because I know as people will be like, dang, I wish I would have did this, or I wish I would have did that. And then, whenever you was this age, and then you look up and it's like,
facts.
Dang, now I'm this age. A few years later, and you're like, man, if I would have just started back then, I would have done it now. And it's always going to happen like that. So it's like, that's why looking back at like what you didn't do is pointless. There's no point in that, because that's all just regret. Just look at the opportunity ahead of you.
I think that's huge in itself, because I thought a couple of things with that one. The main one was, like you said, people are concerned about like how old they are and saying that, well, I wish I had started this back then when they had started, like they started 5 years ago. I wish I had started 5 years ago. Well, keep in mind that let's say you're like 40 right now. So because there's a range of listeners that we have people that are listening at 20, people listening at 18, 40, and some people may think like, oh, it's too late for me. I tell anybody, like, one person I was thinking about is my grandmother. She had says how she wished she had done things differently. Like when my grandfather first passed away, she was like only 50 years old at the time.
Yeah.
So she had been living the next 25 years, saying that, man, what was just pretty much hoping that he would come back one day. But she looks up and says, what was I thinking? What was I doing during all that time? That the past 25 years where I was just soaking, I could have found somebody else possibly. I could have been traveling the world. I could have been doing so much more, because I think I've opened up her eyes to seeing how much more she could have been doing. And the only reason I say that is because you think that you're old right now until you 20 years older.
And you really have regret.
Then you'd be like, yo, I wasn't even old back then. That's why I know you say the joke about, yeah, you old at 30, but life is still just getting started.
Hey, the party just starts at 30.
The party is just getting started.
If you took the 20 seriously.
In fact. So my whole point is that you're not too old. You just wish that you had started earlier, but and when 5-10 years from now, you're going to wish you had started today. Because what's the alternative? That was my second point. What is your alternative? If you don't start today, you're going to look up in, like you said, 5 to 10 years, and you're going to still be in the same place or have mediocre results, as opposed to just go ahead and just taking action or just figuring things out now, or just get into that journey and chasing after what you want to get to.
Yeah, bro. Time is going to pass anyway. Whether you do it or not, time is going to pass. Time doesn't care if you do it. In fact, time is going to be like, yo, whatever you put, like whatever you do now, that's what will be etched in history in a few years. So you just got to really look at the opportunity and not at the regret, because yo, it's easy to look at. That's why we did a whole episode about what we would do differently.
In fact,
that doesn't mean we're not going to do it. That's what I'm doing now. It's like that. I'm going to do it now.
In fact,
because in the grand scheme of things, what is those last few years? It was like 4.5 years, but it's almost about to be 5. Like, what is those? That's a degree, a college degree. How fast does that go by? Freaking college, bro. Come on now. That's all. You telling me I just got to go to college one more time and get another degree? That's easy. That's nothing. 4 years. Come on. And I could be an expert. I can be at that level 2 financial. Oh, come on.
I think that's really helped us out with breaking things down to something that sounds more manageable. I just got to do a 4-year degree. Yeah. Got to go through high school, go through 4 years of high school. Just breaking stuff down to like the 4-year increments. It helps it make it more obtainable. Like, I've done this before, just in a different aspect. Yes. Which really helps you rein it in. Like, bro, 4 years sounds so long. Well, you do it all the time going to high school and college. Yeah. So train retrain your brain to see it in terms of, this is the education piece to get to the next level. Because we naturally invite going to college for 4 years and understand that's necessary to get to the end result of becoming an engineer, becoming specialized in whatever area you went to school for. And then you also invite 8 to 12 years if you want to become a doctor or specialist. Yeah. You invite that easily and just say that's necessary. But what's necessary to get to financial freedom? What are you willing to go through for that? Are you not willing to go through 4 years for that? Like, why wouldn't you be?
That's the crazy thing too, because the reward from this is much greater than the reward from becoming a specialist as an employee. Not that those things they don't have good rewards, they do, but I would much rather have the rewards from this. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, like, you got to really like respect two things. You got to respect the work that it requires, because you're going to respect it for school or to become an entrepreneur, to become a specialist as a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. You respect the work there. You're going to do it. You're going to not go. It's kind of like that whole concept of like, if when your boss tells you to do something, you do it, no argument or nothing. But whenever it's time for you to do something for you, you can make excuses about it. It's like, yo, you making excuses about why you can't do this. But whenever your boss tells you to do this, right at your command, sir. Yeah. And it's kind of like, well, why is there a lack of respect there for yourself? So at the same time, you should have a level of respect for the work it requires and for yourself in order to actually get to that level of, level 1 or even level 2, level 3 financial freedom. It takes a certain level of work and to do that. So, but yeah, I think that was a pretty good conversation. I ain't gonna lie, we ain't even had nothing planned.
That should be flown off the dome.
We didn't have nothing as far as the topic. So, there y'all go. So what we'll do though, real quick before we end the episode, is do a couple of questions from Ask the Monopolizers, and
I hope we got a couple.
I hope So what is our first one?
I'm gonna say this is from Anonymous right here. This one, they asked. Oh, we got a couple more actually. I'm scrolling through right
Since
now.
recently.
Yeah, we got a couple more. So the first one I wanted to ask again: Does money bring you happiness?
I mean, I don't think money does, but I think the things money buys and the things money can do will. So you'll be ignorant to think money doesn't bring some certain level of happiness in your life. It's not directly, but indirectly. Just my answer straight up. I mean, yeah, money itself is worthless to me. I don't care about the money for the money. I care about the money for what it can do. It gives me freedom. Money gives me freedom to be able to have time freedom. That brings me happiness. So yeah, in that sense, yes, money. Like, come on.
I like to play the devil's advocate with this one. So does lack of money bring you happiness? Because nobody ever asked that question. Because what do you get from lack of money? I mean, like literally, theoretically,
agony.
Right? Because now you just get struggle. Like, and things that you desire out of life, you have to struggle to get it because now you can't afford it, or you have to, like. I remember going to going to a restaurant with my cousin, and since he's been here, and I was trying to train him on how to read the menu from left to right instead of right to left. Like, he would pretty much start on the right side and say, okay, what costs the least? All right, $10, I can afford that. What's that? That's a salad. Guess I'm having a salad today. Because the other one costs 20 and 30. Like, okay, let's reverse our mindset and say, well, you have to reverse your mindset. Well, you have that current mindset because you have a lack of money. When you don't have a lack of money, then you can enjoy the luxuries of life that you actually desire. If you want a filet mignon, or if you want a Maserati, if you want a nice house, whatever that may be, you can gain that when you have the money. So it's not necessarily the money, like you said, that's bringing the happiness. It's what it can do for me that's bringing the happiness. So the money itself does not bring happiness, but what it can do does.
Yeah. But yeah, and I will say, I mean, yeah, it's nice to have money. I am happy when I have money. Yeah, so I would say if you want to, play that, I would much rather have money than not have money. So
correct.
You can take it for what it is.
Yep. And I guess, like I said, we got a couple of new ones that came in. Another one
surprised me.
Right. This one's from Sully Boy on Instagram. He says, "What's the best investment at age 21?"
Oh, I saw that one. That was a very, very. I mean, I'm gonna always say it to yourself. I mean, There's nothing at any age. It's always going to be yourself. There's no higher ROI you'll get. There's no crypto or real estate or stock you can pick or buy or invest in that will give you a higher investment than in yourself. Whatever that is, if that means education in anything, that's probably the number one thing I would always, especially at 21. There's nothing you need to be like. You don't need to be trying to find the next crypto or this amazing cash flowing prop. Like, all that is great, but education is going to always pay the highest dividends. And that's like one thing I would never have regret about is investing in education. Yeah. No matter what course I buy, no matter nothing. I literally just bought a course last night, by the way. It was, but I'm never like, there could have been nothing in that course. Nothing that helped me. I could have spent $5,000. Okay, maybe not five. I could have spent like $1,000, and if there was nothing in there to help me, I wouldn't even be mad. Yeah, because it's like it was an investment into myself. I can't be mad at that. It's so easy to go spend money on BS and never, But if I spend money on something and I was an investment into myself, it could have been a scam. But that's your own fault if you got scammed. But I should not be upset about investing into myself. That's always going to provide the best ROI, even if you learn one thing. So
100% I'm in line with that same thing. That would have been my answer regardless, is to investing in yourself, because investing in, like, you have the ultimate control of your outcome in life. That's the responsibility that I want you to take for yourself at any age, but especially in the beginning of your 20s. Understand that anything that you want out of life, you can have, but you have to go seek out the information that you don't have to get to that level. It's going to be, like I've said on the previous episode, investing in information plus execution on it. So you have to know that you are willing to execute to get to the level that you want to be. So like the best thing to invest in at age 21, I'm assuming that you want to achieve a certain level of wealth. So you need to be investing in things that's going to help you get there. And so that's why I would be very, not free with money, but I would be very unattached to the money at age 21, especially in the early 20s, all throughout your 20s. I'm not attached to the money I had making in my 20s, because I know that the more I get my money out of my hands and into something that can provide me the knowledge that I need, I can go execute on that. And by the time I'm in my 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, I'm going to be making way 10, 15, 30, 40, 50 times what I would have been making in my 20s anyway. I'm not attached to that money at 20s.
And think about this too, because everyone wants to make the argument, yeah, just in your 20s, put $500 a month into the IRA or whatever, you'll be a millionaire at 65. Guarantee if you put that same $500 a month into some education, you'll be a multi-millionaire 10 times over at 65.
Facts.
Guarantee you. That's the essence of what investing in yourself is. Now, if you want me to just, play along with you and tell you what to invest in, I would just say go house hack. That's like straight up. Like if you just want a straight up answer, because that's cool too. I would say go house hack, get a property, decrease your living expenses if you are paying rent. If you're already living at home, keep doing that. But if you're paying rent, then that's going to be a significant, whatever you were paying. If you was paying $1,000 a month, now you just made $12,000 in a year. Very few investments are going to make you $12,000 in a year like that instantly at that age. So I would say that's probably, if you just want a straight up answer, that's what I would say.
I'm sticking by mine. Forget. But yeah, no, I agree with that too though. Like something that would be tangible that you can actually see. But I mean, you're going to see the results in yourself if you invest in yourself too. So
it's a fact. That's a fact. So, but yes, if y'all have any questions, feel free to message us on Instagram at Money Monopolizers. We will answer your questions on the show next time we record. So, but yeah, that's about it for this episode. Yep. So we're going to wrap it up here. That is it for this episode of the Money Monopolizers podcast. Wait, what did I say?
Episodes will be released.
Oh, yeah. New episodes will be released every Thursday and will be available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Money Monopolizers wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, we'd appreciate if you rated us 5 stars and left us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can also find out more info about us on IG at Money Monopolizers. We post informative content on there that'll keep you engaged. So be sure to check that out and share those posts. But until then, we are out of here.
You've been listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. To learn more about how you can be in control of your money, visit moneymonopolizers.com. We'll catch you next time when Alex and Marlon share more personal finance and wealth creation tips with you. Now it's time to take action.